Joining us now, former NFL player and Jack Brewer Foundation CEO, Jack Brewer. Jack, great to see you. Love you on this topic. Number one, I don't know how you think you're going to get away with this. You can kind of figure it out pretty quickly. But number two, I love your angle on this because you don't just talk about the unfairness of it. You talk about the effect on our young people and why that matters for decades down the road.
That's right. I mean, first off, who messes with Governor DeSantis? I mean, you got to be smarter than that. But when you start breaking down what this is doing to our kids spiritually and mentally, and the confusion that it's causing, particularly this day and age. I know I can speak about Florida because we work with hundreds and hundreds of kids down there. And when you see what these public schools are doing to them and the indoctrination that's coming behind it, really you're setting them up for failure, because when you start having a young boy at an age when many of them in Florida, we got 2.5 million fatherless kids.
Wow.
So when you have kids that are from broken homes, and now you all of a sudden start putting this gender ideology in their minds, you're really destroying their futures. And it's just so unfortunate. They talk about sports. Well, the average man is 5'9", 200 pounds. The average woman is 5'4", 170 pounds. We are not the same. And so to tell young kids that, especially when they're going through so much trauma already, it's heartbreaking.
People might look at this case with this one particular Florida high school who violated the law by allowing a biological male to play on a girls' volleyball team. They might just say this is overreach, why make such a big deal? And I've got two words: Peyton McNabb. Peyton McNabb played high school volleyball in North Carolina, and had a biological male on an opposing team spike a volleyball and hit her in the face, and she had a severe head and neck injury. That's why, and that's why this law is important. And
it's going to keep happening over and over again. I mean, think about what you're doing to those women and how hard they work. I mean, you talk about women empowerment, but at the same time, you're taking an accomplishment of a young woman who's worked their entire life, set their goals and dreams and aspirations. They get to that point, and they got to start battling against boys. You know, it's just it doesn't make sense in the fact that, especially in the state of Florida, think about what it took for someone to try to hide this, and how much pushback they had even before they got there.
It's so absurd to me. But then you think about, you've got actually a lot of people in this case coming out in support of the athlete that got in trouble, and the mom doing the same thing. And I'm like, Jack, how do we change cultural perceptions among younger generations that seem to be so sympathetic to this?
It's only one way. You got to reestablish morality. I mean, it goes back to a moral issue, right? If my son pushes my daughter, I'm going to treat him a little bit different than if my daughter pushes my son. And so for us to sit here and pretend like men and women are the same is not just confusing the minds of our kids, but it's immoral. It's a moral issue. And so we got to reset morality in this country. We got to get back to schools that can speak truth, right? We got to promote men and women getting together, getting married, having kids, and taking care of their families, reestablish their family again. And it goes back to fatherlessness. Fatherlessness is the #1 crisis facing this nation. We need to have a war on fatherlessness across America, because it's the fatherless kids that you're seeing with this gender dysphoria. It's fatherless kids you're seeing with the mental health issues 3 times more likely. Fatherless kids 5 times more likely to live in poverty. Fatherless kids, 71% of high school dropouts. Wow. You continue to keep on exasperating these issues in our country. Are we going to do nothing about it, or are we going to keep lying to ourselves and making the world is laughing at us because we're making a mockery out of our amazing culture?
A lot of women speaking up, though. It's an issue of fairness. And there's a thing of biology and genetics. And when you let men compete against women, it is profoundly unfair against those women.
And immoral.
Yeah. Jack, thank you so much.
God bless
you, Jack.